Hey everyone, welcome back to Flyvox Talks Cities, the podcast based around our beloved city building simulation, City Skylines. My name is Flyvox, but I am not here alone. With me is the one and only Move the Mouse. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today. I'm excited to have this conversation. We've been trying to put this together for a while now, and schedules one way or the other weren't working, and finally here we are.
So
So,
true. We made it work. We made it happen. Let's
eh,
go. Please tell us a few words about yourself.
I mean, I ramble a lot about myself on my channel, but if you've never seen it before, I am a 45-year-old dad who YouTube's on the side. I keep very busy with my day job in cyber threat intelligence, but basically, I when I'm not at my computer worrying about nation states and e-crime, I'm playing games with my family usually. My wife and my daughter are both gamers, and when I can, cities content on the side.
Nice. That sounds amazing. I love that you're gaming with your family. I'm married and have a daughter as well. My wife is not the gamer, but my little girl, she loves to game, specifically Mario. So she's very into Mario Kart right now. And just recently, she saw me play Subnautica Below Zero, the survival game. And she was like, "Oh, Dad, what's this?" And I'm like, "It's this underwater game. You're underwater." And it's like, I want to watch, and I was like, I want to play, and so she's really into that. So that is really cool that it's the same
Yeah,
for
we get
you.
we do a lot of Minecraft. When I met my wife, actually, I asked her, we were getting to know each other. I asked her cats or dogs. She said dogs, which is the correct answer. And then she asked me PlayStation or Xbox, and I knew right then that that was gonna be my wife.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
we'd also agreed on Xbox at the time. Because if you're gonna multiplay, it had to be Xbox, not
Right.
PlayStation. PlayStation's great for single player games, don't get me wrong, but
Right. Right.
we game on everything, but, we hit it off right away, and yeah, absolutely, like, marrying a gamer is we do a lot of gaming as a result.
That is so cool. That's really, really amazing. So let's talk a bit about City Skylines 1, specifically your journey with City Skylines 1. When and how did you first hear about City Skylines?
So I actually was a latecomer, and I have jumped back and forth from console gaming to Steam gaming, and I was definitely in a console gaming phase when excuse me, when the first cities came to PC. So it just because it wasn't on my radar, and then it showed up on the Xbox dashboard one day, and I thought to myself like, all right, I'll give it a try. It's a city builder on console. It's not going to be great, but maybe just for the memes, like it could be kind of fun. And I fell in love with the game. Like even vanilla cities on console, there's so many limits to it. But that is to me half the challenge is like how do you nudge something down a road and then completely delete the road so that you can move it over here and like slowly move things around without the mods. It was kind of fun to challenge myself that way. But yeah, I fell in love with it in the most unexpected way on playing it on console first.
Nice. I know what you're talking about because I started on console as well with City Skylines. And yeah, you like the cool thing about that is being a console Cities player at first is because now I've switched to a PC like 3 years ago, I think. Three years? Should be 3 years now. But I got to learn the game 100% vanilla. I got to learn it all. I went with the DLCs over the years and just learned the game vanilla. And I feel like that helped me a lot in understanding the game more because as you said, you got to be creative with vanilla. There's no mods. You can't
Yeah.
just like pick stuff up and move it around. So, but it was really interesting and a really cool journey, honestly, learning the game vanilla because once I switched to PC in 2021 or 2020, end of 2020, something like that. Anyway, it was, of course, with mods, it was like a whole other game. And I just felt like I had to almost like learn it all over again because there was so much. Like the doors were open and it's like the mod floodgates released. And it was crazy at the time. Like, and I was glad that I had a couple of years of just learning City Skylines vanilla. So that was really, really cool. And how was your first playing experience like?
I think for the same as I would suspect a lot of players, and that is completely confusing because in game doesn't tell you a whole lot. Like, it tells you some very basic things in some of the pop-ups, so, if I would boil it down to one word, it would be confusing. I went online, and this is actually why I kinda, directed my channel towards cities at the time, was because I went online looking for tutorials, and nobody had any for console. I remember, like, finding Imperial Jedi, right? And learning so much from just a couple vids, like, "Oh, this makes sense now." Like, how some of the basic things work. And then I just figured like, "Oh, let me do this for the next person that is gonna sign on for console and not know what they're doing, and let me just kinda try and create a city from the ground up step by step, really slow and talk my way through it so that people could find that." Um, just thinking it would help a handful of people, and then it really took off because there were at the time, no console creators really that were focusing on that.
That's true, and that's interesting that you mentioned Imperial Jedi because Imperial Jedi was a massive influence on me as well. That's it's really interesting. Like I remember distinctly, like my story, if I want to call it that, with cities was just a coworker from my 9 to 5 from my IRL job told me about this city building simulation. I was like, "Yo, dude, you got to check it out." I'm like, I'm not into simulation games all that much. I like jump and run. I grew up with Nintendo, Mario stuff, some
Mhm.
FPS games. I like that kind of stuff. I was like, simulation game? Yeah, maybe not. Thanks, but I don't think so. He's like, just check out a few videos or just watch one video. You'll get hooked. And it's like, fine, sort of like just to like, okay, I will. And then I just punched in City Skylines in YouTube, and it's like first video Imperial Jedi, and like I was instantly hooked just because of
Mhm.
Imperial Jedi, basically. And yeah, that's like, I think the very next day I got the console version. I got it used even. I paid like $15 for it or something.
Oh, no, so you
And
had a disc version, so
uh,
you didn't even get the remastered
yes,
upgrade.
yes, I got a disc version for that. So physical copy. And I mean, it was that. The rest is history, basically. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
Imperial Jedi. That's so interesting. So you already mentioned your YouTube channel and uploading
Mhm.
City Scans videos because of there's no tutorials for console players. So you already had a YouTube channel and decided to put Cities content on there
Yeah.
because of the tutorials.
I created my channel back in early 2010, and, to upload a Skate 3 video,
Nice.
which at the time, and there's a whole story behind this, but just the quick version, like, I didn't have good video editing software. I was using Ableton Live, which is audio, but you can stretch video to score a movie in it. And I basically, like, you know, I was, like, breaking Ableton, making it do what it's not supposed to make this skate video. And I took, I remember it was a Queens of the Stone Age song, and, slapped together a bunch of skate footage. Like, I'd pulled off the craziest tricks I could all over the map. But the way that I got it onto YouTube was you could share stuff in game in Skate to the EA website, and then it would become a flash file in 2010. Download the flash file, convert that to MP4, stretch it over the song in Ableton, then render it back down. So those files like went through a journey, and it's amazing that they even look as good as they did in 2010. But, that is still my first video, up on the channel from 2010 is Skate. It is claimed for the Queens of the Stone Age. It is totally worth it. Uh, but yeah, if you're into Skate and wanna check out my start, that's where it all began. I didn't touch the channel for 5 years after that until Fallout 4 came out. Did a bunch of Fallout 4 videos and some random video essays and all kinds of stuff, and eventually hit on Cities, like 2017, I think, right when it hit on console. So it was kind of a weird journey. 1 video to 5 years off, to Fallout and random essays, to then really focusing on cities.
That's cool. It's weird, but it's a really cool journey actually. I think because like the file going through so much, it sounds
Oh,
hilarious. I
it's
bet it was a ton of work.
it absolutely was, but it was very much worth it. I had a couple other videos that I put together, but the songs that I wanted to put them to were just outright block the video, unfortunately. One was The
Oh,
Clash, one was, Gnarls Barkley, Gone Daddy Gone. Like I picked a bunch of weird songs and had put a bunch of skate footage to it. So those videos still exist, but not in a format anyone can view them on YouTube because they're instantly blocked worldwide.
Okay, okay. Wow. It's very interesting to me always to hear other creators' journeys on YouTube. I myself started out with Mario videos, Mario Maker, that game. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's essentially
Yeah.
you can create your Mario levels and share them online for the world to play, basically. And started that. So it was building genre, I guess. And I was making videos about that game, playing other people's levels, creating levels, sharing them, seeing how they were received online. And that was back, I think I started the channel in like 2018. It was like the first video. It's not on my actual main channel right now because I over time I sort of shifted the focus to City Skylines when I decided to basically niche down into just like one game, and it was City Skylines. So I took all of that Mario stuff down, but there's still Mario on my secondary YouTube channel, which I use for all sorts of shenanigans basically. And yeah, so that's very interesting. Started with Mario Maker in 2018, and then I think the first Cities video was like in 2019, like a year later. And that video is still there. Like, so the first City Skylines video that I did, of course, I was still like not 100% confident in my ability to create videos, to make YouTube videos. And it was just like, okay, starting a city, I guess, but of course, no commentary, just gameplay, sped up footage, like a speed build of starting a city. And then it's like, I watched it back, I uploaded it, I watched it back, and I was like, that's not,
It's
I don't
tough.
know, something is missing, And I decided, okay, we're going to do commentary from now on. And like episode 2, I did a complete recap of episode 1 because I didn't talk through that first episode. And yeah, then had commentary ever since. And that was the first city, or that was a console city, of course, since I was still a console player back then. But very, very fun. Still to this day, I still like thinking about this series that I did. So it was really, really fun to do that, to grow with that series and with that game. So that was super, super interesting.
Looking back at some of those old videos can be really painful though. Like just from an audio mix perspective, I want to like get a DeLorean and go back in time and like shake me like don't do that. No one wants to listen to that. Your audio mix is bad. But we grow as creators, you
For
got to make
sure.
mistakes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I made a lot of mistakes. I mean, I still make mistakes to this day, I guess, but it's really interesting to look back and to the start of the content creation journey and just to think back on how little knowledge I had, or let's turn it around, like how much knowledge I gained over the years just because I was like, I want to get better. Okay, how do I do this? I mean, taught myself to video edit, taught myself graphics design for thumbnails, taught myself SEO for the YouTube in general, and just like all of these social media platforms, how each and every one works. And it's just very interesting to have become this fountain of knowledge that just getting information from all sorts of places, like watching tutorial videos, how-to videos, what's the best video editing software, what's the best video editing software for free because tight budget, and all this
Mm.
kind of stuff. But super, super interesting to think back to the start of the content creation journey. But fast forwarding a few years, and we are settled content creators. I think I would like to think so. And City Skylines, the focus is on City Skylines. And there is information, there's news about City Skylines 2. And in one of your videos, you mentioned that you've played City Skylines 2, which was released in 2023. You played it back in 2021. How did
Mhm.
that come to be? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'll tread carefully because NDAs.
Of course, of course.
But Jonathan from Paradox had reached out to me on Twitter at the time when I still had a Twitter. I deleted that a while back. I could probably guess for reasons, but um, essentially he had reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want to get behind the release of it was Park Life at the time for console." and we don't have any console creators. So,
Oh,
would you be willing to, come in and make some videos for us, series of videos? So the first thing I did was the Park Life release, except at the time, uh, there wasn't they didn't have me in the early access beta program. So getting
right.
Xbox users into beta, you have to actually, like, register a console as one of the developer consoles temporarily. So
Oh,
they need your serial number, your model, your operating system, your email, like, all that has
wow.
to be basically punched into the dev kit on their side to say, like, "This is one of ours that can access this test build on Xbox." So I th we that was a couple releases later that I finally got in there. So what I had to do for Park Life was I started a brand new build, a new Let's Play. It was my season 4, I believe, and I built a giant downtown, kind of it was, very Manhattan-esque, like giant skyscrapers all around this huge rectangular grass area in the middle. And, like, "Oh, hey, don't worry about this. We're gonna come back and build a park later."
Okay,
Is
okay.
what I was telling the viewers as I'm building
All
this
right.
up.
Yeah.
And then the day that that released, basically, I took the day off of work. I was up at midnight accessing it like anybody else would, but recording footage and upgrading, what is it, 4 different parks to 5-star.
Mhm.
Like, I did all that in one night on console, like, grinding, literally from your first city park to a full zoo, a full nature reserve, a full, what is the other one I'm forgetting? The
The
amusement park.
amusement park, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I grinded all those out, got
Wow.
the first video out the next day, and they, like, turned it around instantly, and then it was 4 or 5 videos over the next few days that were kinda like, celebrating the release of it, and taking people through the differences of, like, the park tool and the different parks and the different things you can do with it.
Right.
So I had built up this huge empty space in the middle for the central park, which was one of the main builds I'd be doing there. But I couldn't tell anybody about it until the day it came out.
Okay.
That's how I get sucked into that ecosystem though, basically was, creating content for them as far back as Park Life.
Wow, that's interesting. I never knew how console creators, console players would get early access. That's so interesting to hear actually. It's super cool. I learned something now.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's a little bit of a pain because you gotta relay it through somebody that then, puts it into their
Yeah.
back end. You're never talking directly to the engineer that's in charge of that, even in a smaller company. But even later, there was one time when, like, there was a DLC that dropped, I don't know, on a Friday, and there was a patch that came out, and here I am wanting to promote it, except they left me in the beta program, and they didn't remove me from it, so all my users have this fix and this patch that they've downloaded, and I'm sitting in a technical support queue waiting till Monday morning for them to reach out to Microsoft to pull me out of the program. And
Oh.
just like, "Okay, I can't play the new DLC because it's
Oh
broken. You totally
no.
broke it on me."
Oh my god. Oh
So there's
no.
yeah, there's ups and downs to it. It's
Fair.
it's it's great to be able to access those things. It is more hurdles than you have to do on PC for sure. But it is a more open-ended ecosystem than PlayStation, which is why it's my preference. You can mod games technically on Xbox if you
Right.
do it through the game itself. Um, unfortunately, something that they in theory could have supported for CS2, but aren't because of PlayStation. But maybe I'm jumping the gun on that part of the discussion.
Okay. No, okay. Really interesting. Again, as I said, that's I did not know that. That's super cool to find out. So Cities 2, how was your first playing experience like, and what were
Ooh.
your initial impressions?
So I had it's interesting. So I took a good amount of time off for a mental health break. I took 11 months off from my channel. And right around the time I took that break was the last time I had played that build in summer of 2021. And I just from then to now, like, I've never and again, I've got to be careful here. Like, I'm not judging the game on its merits. Like, it was alpha, it was early. I've played other alpha builds. Like, I've seen games that early from other developers. and, like, it just wasn't I've never had fun playing the game from day one.
Okay.
Whether it looked good or not, whether it was in beta, whether it was released, whether it is a couple months down the road with patches, the game itself to me was never, and I think that was a kind of a part where I felt better about stepping away from my mental health because I was like, "Why am I doing this? This game's gonna be terrible." Like, and this is what my channel's built on. So, like, I saw this coming from summer of 2021.
Okay, that's very interesting that you say that you basically you never enjoyed playing City Skylines 2 like from the start because um for me it sort of was similar. I'm not sure if it was because I was so overhyped because of the marketing campaign, but everything that led up to the release of City Skylines 2 had me in a state of like utter joy and happiness. Like I remember the trailers dropping, you know, the first trailer, not actual gameplay footage. Amazing, in my opinion, amazing. And then the actual gameplay trailer, Chef's Kiss, like the trailers were so good and they got me so hyped. I'm like if we talk movies for a quick sec, I love trailers, right? There's people that don't want to watch trailers, they spoil too much. I get that, obviously, you know. But
It's an art, though.
I love watching trailers. I love analyzing trailers. I love watching breakdowns of trailers. Like every bit of information I can get of an upcoming project that I want to consume, I'll take, right? And so
Sometimes there are bad movies that, like, will blow everything in the trailer. You
yeah,
know, like,
that's
you'll
true.
see
That's true.
5 funny things, and it was the only 5 funny things in there, but a good trailer, like, gives you enough of the story to really wanna see it, but have nowhere close to an idea of some of the twists and turns
Yeah.
and subplots, and yeah, no, I'm with you. They're
It,
very important
exactly. It
for
just it
hype building and just
yeah.
for understanding what you're gonna step into for 2 hours or, $50 for 1,000 hours some people, are gonna put into it.
Exactly. Yeah, the trailer is there to get you even more excited about the finished product and not like spoil it completely, right? So once the dev diary videos, the dev insights videos dropped, like I immediately I talked with Joy Build Cities actually, and we decided to, you know, let's cover those videos together on our channels. We'll switch it up. We'll do dev diary on your channel, dev insights on my channel, and we'll just talk. We'll break it down. We'll analyze it, and those were so much fun to watch, to react to, and to do. And I was like, look at all of these mechanics, and I'm like, wow. So I was just blown away by everything that led up to the game. And then I was also in the early access group, and I got access to the game, and I was so excited. It's like I'm not sure which day, if it was it a Friday or it's like I was at work, and I was like, oh my god, like I can't wait to turn on the computer tonight and just like play the game for the very first time. And I turned it on, and I just like jumped right in, like overhyped, and I'm like, yo, I broke down everything there is to know about this game. I got this, and I just started a city or just opened a map. I didn't start a city really. I opened a map and just like minutes. It was like minutes. And suddenly like all my hype, all my excitement was dampered. Like it was damped down because I don't know what it was. It was like um, it just wasn't what I had expected from the overhyped, was it overhyped, from the super hype marketing campaign. Like the marketing campaign itself was amazing. I can't say anything else about that. The end product, the final result, the product, for me personally, it was more of a struggle to actually get into the game. And we were allowed to release 3 videos, and I've talked about this before. I really struggled to make these 3 videos. Like the first one was okay to make. The second one, I was like, I can't do this. Like I really started doubting myself. Like I can't play this game. I can't make a video about it. I can't make a good video about it. And the third video was like, I was ready to just throw in the towel. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm giving up. No third video for me. I'm sorry. And I pushed through. I created a video, not a bad video or anything. Just I created a video, an okay video, but like deep down, it never felt as satisfying as making City Skylines 1 or playing City Skylines 1 for me. How did your first playing experience compare to the initial impressions? Or how were your initial impressions when you got back to City Skylines 2?
So it looked better than alpha, obviously. Like there, that's where
Of
most of
course.
the progress gets made. But there was still like I would just call it the game's bones. Like there was something wrong with its bones, the very foundation that it was built on. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. If it's not fun to play, it's not fun to play. Which I thought was really funny. I made a meme and posted it in Egg's Discord because, one of the things that Morena said in the documentary, like the lead up to launch, was we know simulation games. We know how to make a good game. You've got to make a good game first because like the technical you can fix later, but if it's a bad game, you can't fix that. And I'm thinking like, okay, so you can't fix this, is what you're saying. Like you said the quiet part out loud because it wasn't it wasn't great to begin with. But looking back to those 3 videos that we were allowed to do, I posted 2. So my first one was I a bullet list of like all the things that we could talk about, all the things that you unlock in that first episode, up to what the 4th milestone or wherever it was. And my very first video ends with me like placing down a dump and then turning around to look at the town behind me, and every single building has like a warning indicator, like not enough customers.
Yeah.
No, like every single building in the entire town is complaining. And I left that in the video as a quiet way to like, I can't talk about it, but here it is. And I remember the quote because somebody like quoted it, and it was pinned for a while, but it's a perfectly working city. Don't ask any questions was my sign off. And it was my quiet way to try and warn people. And then the second video, the way that I signed off was a little bit less enthusiastic, and it was, I'm not going to bother with the third video. I'm going to come back when I can talk about the entire game. Is basically what I said. So I do those are longer form videos, and I'm a smaller creator, so I don't know like who stayed tuned to the end. But if you thought in any way that I was excited for this game at the end of episode 2, like that was me getting as close as I could to warning people, short of breaking NDA basically, because couldn't talk about performance.
Right.
Um, that's one thing too that killed me because like I know from the creator Discord that was there at the time that some people were very hopeful for that day one patch that, a patch is going to fix this. And a patch can fix things, but it still boils down to the fact that it wasn't going to fix the most basic problem of the game, and that was the game itself. Get patching a new game, which is kind of what they needed to do at that point. It needed a lot more time to cook, and I was losing excitement pretty fast. So I was just getting ready. I was breaking out my old computer that you can see in the background over there for the potato mode video. Basically, that's
Okay.
that's where all my energy went to.
Right. Right. Yeah. It was. As I said, it was a struggle for me as well, and I tried to make these videos as normal as possible. Like I didn't throw in any hints or any, like I like deep down, like I always thought this can't be the end of the line. This can't be it, right? Like I really want to like this game. I want to love this game, and I do hope that in time, like as of now, I'm not playing Cities 2. Like I'm taking a bit of a break from the game itself. Like I don't know if when I'm gonna go back to it. I think we're gonna get mods, the PDX mods, end of March, I think it was stated in the word of the week, but that's gonna be a beta, I believe.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I dabbled with the thunderstore.io mods a bit, and yes, that does make it a bit better. Yeah, of course. It's like the best thing about City Skylines 2 for me from the beginning was the road tools, right? The road tools are amazing. I gotta say that those are super, super fun. I had tons of fun creating a few road layouts on live streams, on videos, and starting a city or starting new areas of a city, doing the road layouts. But th- I can only do those so often and so much, right? And then there's no more road layout that needs to be done. And then I'm like left with this like, okay, now all I have is like broken zoning squares. I have trees that are not grown up. And if you plant those tree saplings, they will go through the same life cycle as far as I know, and as far as I've seen from other creators so far, and they will die at the same age. So the trees, you'll have those like this cemetery of just like dead trees all over when you plant like mass plant the tree saplings. I don't know if different types of trees have different life cycles. I've never tested that out because I just don't want to wait like 8 hours for the trees to grow.
They probably do. That's the important thing in a city builder,
Yeah, probably.
simulation.
Right, right, right. Yeah, but so like as of now, I'm also just like taking a step back from Cities 2 for the YouTube channel and the live streams, going back to City Skylines 1. I think I've played City Skylines 2 3 times this year, and that was mostly for my involvement in the Five Builders One City collaboration created by Zardis, which was super fun to participate in as a guest builder. That video is out, and then I've closed Cities 2 again, and I also like in that video I stated that, which I didn't mean to, but it turned into a bit of a rambling video as well. I just had the build in the background, explained a few things, and then I started rambling again about the game.
That's my
I
brand.
I
I've trademarked that, so
just veered off. Yeah. And I basically felt that right then and there, I was like, I guess I'm only doing this video because I don't want to let, Zardis down and the other creators in the 5B1C. So if it wasn't for that like commitment, I probably wouldn't have done a Cities 2 video. And it was an okay the build was okay. Was it fun? I'm not. I don't know. I did a university build, and like, there's only again so much you can do. So I tried to think back to my vanilla City Skylines 1 days and created like a custom bus hub in there, with like the bus only roads, and that's it. Yeah, I tried to make it as interesting as possible, and tried to be a little enthusiastic, but it was tough. It was really tough to finish that video, honestly, which I didn't think would be the case, but it was.
you're not the only 5B1C, whether regulars or guest builders, that has said that too, where it's just like the only reason I'm playing this game is because of this collaboration project. And that's a really interesting collaboration project when,
Right, right. I mean, it was.
half the
It,
5Bs, two, two and a half builders and two and a half ranters and some guests, and
I mean, it was. I was asked a time a while ago, and I know Zardis, so I
when
was
there was
like,
still
yeah,
hope.
let's do it, right? And but just like over time, somewhere in between me saying yes, I want to be in this project, in this collaboration, because I was a guest builder in a previous season of 5B1C, and the experience was amazing being in like this in the group with some of these amazing builders, these amazing content creators. Was so much fun, and Cities 1 especially. So I jumped at the opportunity to be in there again. Like, I was like, yes, count me in. And then just over time, I felt more and more empty, so to speak, when playing Cities 2, and then just the decision to, okay, take a step back from this game came like somewhere in between me saying yes and then it's like, okay, now I'm here. Uh I guess I'll do the video so I won't let anyone down, basically. But yeah, that was that.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see. We were gonna have this conversation a while ago, and it was interesting to see. Like, I knew there were some other creator videos coming out, so I'm like, okay, I gotta put my rant pants on, and I put out a 50-minute video. But I feel like I would have probably articulated things a lot better in a conversation than me just talking at the wall for an hour. But I kind of had to. I just felt like I just had to get that stuff out there. Not that I have been quiet about this at all. Like, I think I was one of the few that came out at that embargo that was just like, here's how the game runs on low end hardware, and I'm not actually that thrilled with it on my 3080 and 10700K either. And I think, part of that boils down to just how slow it is. It's not, we're hitting the reset switch on a lot of stuff where, like you said, you're doing a university, you're breaking out CS1 vanilla tricks because you have such a small tool set now and so few assets, and it makes things really tough. And you're just, you're doing something that you could have done in 2017, and that's pretty sad for, all these years later and all this hype built around the sequel to be in that position where we're like, you know, CS1 vanilla is almost better. I would argue it is better. It's interesting, like, if you go look at, like, the city's official channel, like, what are their most popular videos? So, the announcement trailer, the pre-order gameplay trailer, um, but then, like, traffic AI and road tools both show up in the top 10. Those were the first 2, videos that they did in the feature highlights for CS2.
Right.
And, like, I think it was very intentional, the things that they told us about early on were there to, like, "Hey, like, we've heard your concerns about what you didn't like about the old game, like, we're fixing the road tools. You still need anarchy. There's no keys." Like, there's a couple creators that make these beautiful key walls, and, like, they shave away the ground, and I'm like, "Oh, the roads are going, like, up and down like crazy. They're just, like, all over the place. I cannot make it work. I struggled with it for, like, half an hour." I'm like,
Right.
"No, I don't care. I don't care about this game enough to try and finagle the system into working for me." Like,
Right.
no, like, I could do better on baseline console or vanilla cities on PC. This is such a step backwards. Traffic AI was another one. That was the second video. You don't need traffic manager. We got brand new traffic AI. Meanwhile, how many videos have you seen of cars getting off of highways to get back onto the highway instead of staying on the highway and making U-turns at a roundabout all of a sudden? It was very very well designed marketing campaign. Unfortunately, I think it just sold a lot of people on the idea that we're listening to the biggest complaints when really no, we still need mods. Mods are going to fix this game. Unfortunately, console players are not going to get those.
That's so true. And speaking of a slow game, that's just like one of my big gripes as well. Because as I mentioned, like I don't want to wait around for like 8 hours for a tree to grow. I don't want to wait like 6 in-game months or even more for the snow to melt and to give way to the lush greenery. That's on some maps it is really, it's like from September until May you have like snow, which is for content creation
That's
purposes
that's New England.
it's not really helpful. It's like the
Yeah.
visuals are just like just super blinding. I mean, you can build your city in the snow, but it's just like I don't know, just like give me a toggle, right? Give me a toggle to turn it off or turn it on. And yeah, just again with the trees the same. Like I do understand that there are mechanics, or there should be properly functioning mechanics with the trees, with it being a resource, the wood, of course. So you could technically cheat if you can place fully grown trees for the forestry industry. I do understand that, but then just make it like if I choose to plant a fully grown tree, maybe that one doesn't count towards the resources. Maybe I pay more for a fully grown tree as a city builder. I don't know, do something like that. So the game,
Or calculate it based on the tree's age, regardless of what it looks like.
right,
That could work too, like
right,
how
right,
long has it been since its last cut? Doesn't matter if it's, 2 feet tall or 10 feet tall, 100 feet tall. It's been X amount. It's this type of tree. It yields this amount of wood. There's ways you can make the simulation work there.
yeah,
And the speed, yes, is a consistent complaint for anyone I've talked to that played it. Like, the trees are, I think, one of the best examples because we want to detail and we want to know what that tree looks like when we put it on that spot next to that park path. I don't want to know that it looks like a tiny tree now and it might look like the tree that I want if I wait 8 hours. If it doesn't look like the tree that I want, I got to wait another 8 hours to see if the next one I put down works. And
right,
that's them not understanding how people play the game. Like,
right.
people play your game a lot of different ways, but what has kept it alive has been the creativity and the city painting and the amazing things that people build with it. And they removed a lot of the flexibility when they leaned so hard in the simulation. Like, no, you have to wait for the trees to grow. No, you have to wait for, somebody to grow up to get through the system. And, meanwhile, you've got like single dogs owning houses and, a 4-year-old living by themselves in an
Yeah.
apartment. Um, they
Yeah.
didn't set it up right.
No, no, not really. Yeah, the speed is one big, again, one of my big gripes as well. And you also mentioned the traffic AI, which is also interesting, that we have these cool features like don't turn left on this intersection, which is really, really cool. I wish that all the traffic would comply, because I turned off left turns and they just kept going. Like and it wasn't even service vehicles where you could think, okay, it's a service vehicle, they have an emergency, they have to go there. It was just like regular traffic. I'm like, what is this roundabout behavior? It's like like first time I love the roundabout builder. Again, road tools, they're amazing. I can't say anything negative about those. I place roundabouts and I get traffic jams. And I'm like, okay, let's see. It happens. From I know this from Cities One. Let's do some city fix. Let's see if we can do some city fix. And I look, and it's like, what are they doing in the roundabout? And they have like the worst behavior going into and out of the roundabout. And like, this is like one of the big plus points, the new traffic AI. This should be like better than Cities One. It's like I feel like it's worse. I mean, I'm not the best planner in terms of how to keep your city traffic free, but it wasn't a big city. There shouldn't have been that much traffic, and it was specifically on roundabouts where I'm like, why, and it's just these things that, the same with like service vehicles overtaking the regular citizens in their cars, the regular citizens in their cars making way if there's room for the service vehicles. I don't see it, honestly. I don't see it that often. Like, I thought that would be like, how do I say, like, from the way that I've heard from the featured highlights, the dev insights, the dev diary videos, I thought that like it sounded like insanely, like it sounded just like there. I don't know what I thought would happen, but it just sounded
You
so
believe
amazing.
them.
Yeah, like it sounded so amazing, and then I was like, play the game, and I was like, wait, that's not. I thought this would be different, because in that video you hyped it up. You said like, oh my god, this is so new. This is so amazing. You will never have any traffic jams in your city again. Like, no service vehicle will get stuck behind a regular citizen ever again. And it's like, yes, they still do. It's like and yeah, those are just like some things where I'm like, I don't know. And like the like, this just sort of turning into a rant here, but like the broken zoning squares, for instance, is like another thing where I'm like, come on, like this can't be this hard to just like let
Yeah.
me make a grid with my roads, and not having these tiny little gaps in the zoning squares if I want to have these blocks. Like, what, why? And the grid tool, although an amazing idea, doesn't, maybe I
It's
used it
missing an
wrong.
option.
Maybe I used it wrong, but yeah, it feels like it's not working properly. Like, it's not 100% the way it should be, the way it was advertised. Because like, you can't make these perfect grids like on every, like as soon as you have a different type of road, it already feels like impossible to do without these roads being slightly off angled, where you have to go in with the replace tool and then just like straighten them out, or just delete the road and redraw it. But that's not the point of the grid tool, in my opinion.
Mm.
But just like these little things where I'm like, that the little things that add up to this like massive thing that kind of, yeah, killed the fun for me, for City Skylines too. So, yeah.
The zoning is honestly painful. Like, it's such a basic necessity of this game to watch, Maddie still struggling with it months later on the city's official stream on Thursdays.
Right.
I chuckle to myself because it is funny that, here we are months after release, and if anyone is going to know how that tool works properly to make it work, it's probably gonna be Maddie with thousands of hours in the game and,
Yes.
like, basically playing it as a professional. and trying to make it look as good as possible for Paradox and Colossal Order's sake, and still struggling with even trying to get basic grids to line up. Like, eh, they really they missed the assignment. They they handed in homework, but it was to a different project,
Mm,
and
mm,
it's I'm not yeah, it still blows my mind just to think about sometimes, like,
right,
all the little things that kind of fell apart
right,
in
right.
just the right ways to add up to something that is not exciting as an end product.
So true. I can agree. And you also mentioned like detailing, with the tree saplings. You don't know how the fully grown tree will look. And that's like another thing. Try planting a row of trees. Like that
Mhm.
is something where I like 1000% thought that there would be a line tool in the base game. I'm not sure what prevented them from adding it in. Again, I have to state this. I'm not a game dev. I'm not a designer, game designer. I'm a tech noob, but like I just don't, as someone from the outside looking, I don't understand why you wouldn't add these like basic features, these like beloved, over years beloved from the modding community.
Yeah.
Like people love these tools, these very simple basic tools. Let me just draw a line of trees. That's something like I, and just the lack of like detailing options. I guess it's been said a bunch of times before from other creators as well, or other people playing other players, but it's like just let me add a fence for Christ's sake, give me some more walking paths. Like it's just
You'll get them. You'll pay for them, though. That's the
well,
thing.
I mean,
They're coming.
that's
I one of the things that concerns me a lot, and I don't know if this is jumping ahead, but when you think about Paradox mods and the, what are they calling the assets, the creator, not the creator packs, but the asset packs, the region packs,
region packs.
right? I wonder, like, I feel like a big motivation behind bringing this into the store is, one, sure, you can have a more common experience and make things easier to share. Like, there's the devil's in the details. Like, there are cool positives, but it also gives them kind of this iron fist control over what can and what can't be an asset or a mod or a thing that you can download for free if that overlaps with something that they want to charge for. Right? Like, I can't build these popular buildings for free if you're planning on doing a paid creator pack for that. Or, maybe a mod has to go away. And if you want that functionality, it's something that's part of a DLC later. So I don't know that it's going to be as malicious intent as that right out of the gate. Like, they'll probably try and, ratchet it back slowly. But I have to think that that is one of the things, like, keep people in your ecosystem, and you don't, get people spending money if there's things that they can get for free that solve that same solution.
Right.
And by locking out other stores, by preventing the Steam Workshop and other sources, and baking it into the game, you give a lot of people incentive to not ever even think about leaving it. But they released the game and forgot to include that, so people are already, you know, going into these ecosystems outside of the game and seeing what can be done. And I wonder if that is really gonna shoot them in the foot going forward. Like,
Hmm.
if PDX mods isn't flawless, people have already figured out that they can do it without PDX mods, without even official mod support. So, they've really gotta get this right, and I have a feeling, based on what we've seen so far, it's at least they're owning up to the fact that it's going to be early access. Um,
Right.
I think the game
Right.
still deserves that title, but at least the mod tool will be early access. But they've really gotta do it right, because, like, I don't think they've got a lot of good faith that they can save, that they can still win back at this point.
Mm. I gotta be honest. I'm kind of like, okay, let me start differently. First, I thought, okay, PDX mods, Steam Workshop, for me personally, I don't really care. I don't care to an extent as other people did, maybe justified online what I read about, oh my God, no PDX mods, give us Steam Workshop. Personally, I don't really care. However, I do care about when you have a game, City Skylines 1, and it is made big or it is so popular because of mod support, asset creators, mod creators. You release a sequel and your mods are not ready. It doesn't if like if you decide fine, go with PDX mods. Again, I don't care. But if your mods are not ready, and I think you said like the exact same thing in one of your videos,
The game's not
then
ready.
you shouldn't. Yes, your game's not
Yeah.
ready. You shouldn't release your game if you don't
That's
have the mods.
yeah.
Like they know that the mods made Cities 1 what it is today. They
And
cannot.
they say that. They say
Yes.
that in their communications.
Yes.
They say that in the word of the weeks. But you're saying it, but you're not showing us that you understand it.
Right.
Can I let me read something to you real quick.
Please.
Like, I thought this was interesting. I can send you the text after. But let me just read this and see if you can tell me who this is from. Dear City Skylines community, we apologize for the issues that have arisen with the release of City Skylines 2. We understand that the game has not met the expectations of our players, and for that we are truly sorry. We take full responsibility for the state of the game and are committed to addressing the issues that have been reported. Our team is working tirelessly to identify and fix the problems, and we will be releasing updates as soon as possible to improve the game experience. We appreciate your patience and understanding as we work to resolve these issues. We value your feedback and encourage you to continue providing us with constructive criticism and suggestions. We're listening, and we will use your input to make City Skylines 2 the game that you deserve. Do you know who wrote that?
It sounds like a word of the week or like a passage
An,
from
an
word of the
AI
week.
app on my Android phone.
Would you look at that? An AI app
I,
on your
I
phone.
yeah. Let me tell you the question I asked it. Hold on. Colossal Order just released Skylines 2 in a terrible state. Write an apology to the fan base from the perspective of a community manager. Sincerely, your name, community manager, Colossal Order.
I legit
It
thought it
word
was
for
a
word.
passage from word of the week.
It is. I'm pretty sure they used AI to write that. So the closest thing we've gotten to an apology, I'm pretty sure AI wrote that because it's all the same stuff in the exact same order. And maybe it's just that the AI is understanding what a true apology is and owning up to the mistakes and it's finding all this stuff online and in context of what this specific release is, but it is eerily similar and something that an AI on my Android phone cooked up in about 15 seconds.
I mean,
So yeah,
but you asked the question recently, right? So maybe it just it,
yeah.
it took something from word of the week and just like gave it to you, but it did legit just sound like something that was taken like a passage from word of the week, honestly. Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
It was. I mean, there was a lot of backlash from the community, and let's talk a bit about that. I mean, obviously there should be no hate, like nobody should receive hate in any form online, 100%. However, like no, I'm not justifying that, but like criticism is where it's due. You should criticize, in my opinion.
I think it was 100% deserved. Um, they charged full price for a game that they said was not early access, that they hyped up for months, that they showed us what they could do over 8 years and said, "Here's the sequel." Better yet, for console players, they said, "Hey, buy remastered if you had a physical disc, because you don't get an upgrade for free for that." And then a month later, they're announcing City Skylines 2. Like I've talked about it on my channel, but they pushed that out the door when it wasn't ready because they probably would have seen even less sales if they had waited till after the release of City Skylines 2. And then for them to do the same thing just a few months later for City Skylines 2, like that backlash is absolutely deserved. And like you said, there is a certain level of toxicity that of course is not acceptable.
Right.
But I feel like I see the word of the week on Reddit, on Paradox forums, and you go into the comments and like there's not a lot of great comments. There's people that will just outright, I mean, forgive, I don't know if like it's just they'll just lick the boot, like whatever it is. Like, no, yes, sir, you are doing amazing things. Thank you for this game. Like there are people that just love it. And they will defend it shamelessly. But I don't think it deserves that. If you're having fun with the game, that is awesome. Like, I would love for you to have fun with games. I am a gamer. Like we talked about it very early on, right? My wife's a gamer, my daughter's a gamer. Like, please find games that you love. Like, it's an awesome pastime. It's amazing. And I would never want anyone to not enjoy a game, but this isn't the game for me. And if you go look at the Steam reviews are slipping harder and harder. And what's really funny is like they're past the mostly negative now on recent reviews. And if you go look through the positive reviews, almost every single one of them, 90%, the game's great, but and these are the people giving it a positive review. There's a,
Okay.
here's 5
Understand.
things that are great, and here's 50 things that you should know about before you buy it, but I'm still giving it a thumbs up. And
Right.
that's,
Right.
they're already at the 50% mark, and the ones that are liking it are warning people to stay away from it.
Right.
They had to know it wasn't ready, and they shipped it anyways. And I do wonder how much of it was, CO pushing it out because they need the profits, or was it Paradox pushing them to push it out? I think both are very much possible. Both are understandable as Paradox being a public company, right? They have shareholders. Uh, there is incentive to make money, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
it has come into a game that we are close to, that we really love. We've seen it in Activision and Bethesda and so many companies that are willing to push out subpar products because we need profits this quarter. We need profits this fiscal year. It doesn't matter about when the game is ready. It doesn't matter that it is an art form anymore. It's a money making machine. And I think they've made that abundantly clear that that was what the priority was making money, not doing something that people were going to love, which is a very dangerous path to take on a thing that you want to turn into a 10-year platform. Like, look at Destiny. Did you not like has no one there heard of Destiny or seen what Destiny has been doing and how that 10-year platform didn't work out? And it's very frustrating to to know these lessons that should be apparent and obvious, and then to see, a company we love that did something just right enough that modders could make it amazing. Um, and I shouldn't say that because I play the console version. I play it unmodded too, but
Right. Right.
it's long in the tooth now, and remastered was left in a pretty still broken state, unfortunately. Remastered's the best thing I have if I'm a console player right now, if I want to, 25 tiles and build something more than the
Right. Right.
default 9. And it is like I mean, I can play the game for 5 minutes and encounter a really frustrating bug.
Okay.
It was not left in a great spot. And part of that was, you're not going to continue to pay a company to keep up with remastered when you shoved it out the door when it wasn't ready, and you're moving forward to focus on, Cities 2. They said in the most recent stream, like, we haven't abandoned Cities 1 yet, but like, I don't like, maybe bug fixes. That's about it. Like, I think people read a lot more into that.
Yeah.
And, oh, maybe there's new DLC coming. Like, I mean, maybe if CS2 flops hard, maybe they moved back to that model. But how much more can you bolt on? And you know, again, you can get a lot of stuff from assets and the workshop there.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate. But the backlash, I think, was deserved. And I myself have a negative review up on Steam. I want to love it. I want it to succeed, but it is not something I would recommend spending your own money on. I recommend people play it via Game Pass if they have it. Like, Game Pass is still a good value for the consumer. Long term, I think it's gonna do bad things to the industry, and maybe it already is starting to in a way. But at least for the consumer, if you've got, 10 to 15 bucks a month, hop on now while it's good, because it only gets worse from here as they further commoditize and try and squeeze every penny out of every game.
Right. Yep. That is very true. I said that the same, like I said this earlier, what you just said. Like, I really want to love the game. I want to like the game. I wanted to from the start, like, so bad that I guess I sort of ignored my own stance to how I feel when playing the game, I guess, because like subconscious, I think I knew that this game, it was like, and here's the thing, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, like, I never played simulation games, right? I was never the simulation game player. I like jump and run, I like FPS games, and City Skylines 1 was very different for me in that regard. So, which is why I love it so much, and just like made it the focal point of my entire content creation journey so far. And Cities 2, is like, I don't know. It's just it goes back so hard on the simulation aspect. In when I compare it to City Skylines 1, like I could spend hours in City Skylines 1 just making stuff beautiful, like in my opinion beautiful, like, detailing everything and just making it look nicer and finding little corners, spicing them up, and with vanilla, totally without mods.
Hmm.
I do love to play modded. I would consider myself lightly modded. Like I don't go overboard. I rarely use any assets from the workshop. I use no assets from the workshop, and lightly modded. But these are quality of life kind of mods. Like you can achieve most of what I do in vanilla, because I'm always still in that. I played console for like 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. I'm always in that vanilla mindset. So I rarely, like, building a roundabout in Cities 1. I have roundabout builder. I barely use it because I just always just draw my roundabout, and then like my
Hmm.
Twitch chat is like, hey, you got mods, use your mods, like, oh, I forgot, I guess. Well, now the roundabout is built. So I always also, of course, I love to use anarchy and move it and just like, make these areas look even more unique. But you can do a lot of the stuff that I do in vanilla City Skylines, and that's just something that is completely gone from Cities 2, for now at least. The detailing options, we talked about that. Not sure if it's going to, I mean, I'm pretty sure there will be more detailing options available at some point with a DLC, with a prop pack, whatever it might be. But again, for me, the question is like, what do I do with like content creation, right? If you do a poll on YouTube, what do you like to watch? City Skylines 1 or City Skylines 2? Like you get like 80% City Skylines 1. And then the 5B1C video is like, again, after a couple of other City Skylines 1 videos, the most popular video I made. So it's still
Yeah.
like, people say that they want to watch Cities 1, but then again, I just for clarification, I'm not like, I don't I'm not like a super good City Skylines player. I'm not an amazing builder. I don't do super unique layouts. I just have my own fun little way to do certain areas in City Skylines. And but yeah, that's and it's like at this point I'm just like, okay, I'm taking a break from Cities 2 for I don't know how long, and we'll see what happens in time. Over time, we'll see. But as of now, I'm just like wondering with this whole content creation journey, do I even like do I stay niched down with City Skylines? Do I expand? I'm experimenting with my secondary YouTube channel. I mentioned that I try to do some all sorts of shenanigans on there and just see what happens. I do love the podcast, like what we're doing right now. This is amazing. This obviously it's about City Skylines. I try to keep it, sort of as City Skylines as the main topic, but I also love to hear the backstories of content creators, of course. But it's just at this point, it's like I'm left in this like limbo state where I'm not really sure where to go from here, which is frustrating. And that's a word that you also said, and it fits so well. It's frustrating because I legitimately thought that City Skylines 2 could could be like the breakthrough, if you will, for my content creation journey, for my YouTube channel, for my live streams. I was like, I'm so prepared. I had like scripts ready for like 20 videos, which I scrapped because it's like I can't do this. And it's just, yeah, it was very frustrating. And yeah, so that's it's and then we hear the response, or the like the word of the week. We hear what Colossal Order over the PDX forums have to say in the word of the week, in the aftermath of the launch. um how do you think that all comes together? We talked about it. It sounds a bit like AI generated.
The good stuff was. The bad stuff was definitely human generated. Like, if you dislike the simulation, maybe this game just might not be for you.
Yeah, that
That
was,
still stings me to think about, but I know it so well, and it has become a meme in the community, um, but it's just so tone deaf. Like, you've got this release that at best at that point was like 70% positive. I think that was pushing it probably on Steam. And to go in with confidence to say, like, this is the game that we wanted to make. It's better than Cities 1. If you dislike it, sorry. Ooh, I feel
Hmm.
like we saw and look at the player trending. Like every game drops off at first. But Cities is not necessarily the kind of game that drops off like other games because you're not beating the story in 20 hours and then like, "Oh, maybe I'll go do some endgame loop." Like,
Right.
no, like, this is something you can do forever. You can build one city, or if you're like me, and I know a lot of people are, like, you build that one city for a while until you get bored, then you start a new city, and then you do another one until you get bored, and then you start another city, and you scope out these different ideas and build in different parts of the world, and yeah, it just wasn't fun for myself and for a lot of the community, but that the feedback, that they say they're listening to, but I mean, they're not, 'cause, like, again, you can catch it on a good day or a bad day on either one, but, like, the Reddit replies, the PDX forum replies, the Steam replies, there's plenty of valid criticism in there. And I scrolled through it and I see all the positive, like, "Rah, rah, go Colossal Order, get a reply and a heart," and then everybody else, like, "Nope, just scroll on by." Like, that person has valid feedback too. That person probably also gave you 50 or $90.
Right.
They matter too, and that is
Yeah.
I have worked in customer service roles, so I have gone through a lot of different technical roles, technical support, escalations, managing teams, professional services, helping people come on board with products. And like the customer aspect is something that I think a lot of people miss. If you're, a tech support engineer, I get why people aren't inclined to think that way. But there is a certain level of customer service with almost any role if you're, dealing with somebody on the other side. If your product isn't just purely supported within, like, you need your customers to be successful. And I feel like they have just kind of brushed away a lot of the criticism or ignored it outright. Um, the only thing I see them reply to is copy and paste stuff. And someone actually called them out, like, "Hey, when's console coming?" And it was a copy and paste reply. "We're working very hard and we're going to bring you news as soon as we can." And I'd seen that same thing 50 times.
Right.
And I get that they get asked it a lot. But someone said, like, "Do you have anything other than a copy paste?" And they replied and said, "Well, we try and rearrange the words."
I
Like,
think I saw that. Sorry to interrupt.
you
Yeah.
you yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, no, no, it's like, that's not no, you don't say that part. Sure, you rearrange the words. Sure, you put that person, like, "I'm sorry, I don't have anything to give you. I would love to be able to share that date with you." You could do it, but they literally said the quiet part out loud of, "We just rearranged the words." And it's like, my god, that's up there. I don't know if you remember, around the Fallout release, they had the canvas gate, where people, like, pre-order the Power Armor edition, and they were supposed to get this nice canvas bag for the Power Armor helmet, and it was a nylon bag, like a wrinkled nylon bag. And people were complaining and contacting support, and what somebody, screenshot it and reposted it to Reddit, thank God. But the reply from the tech support engineer was, "We're sorry you're not happy. We're not planning to do anything about it. Bethesda technical support." And that just, like, was kinda right up there for
Oh
me.
my God.
The copy and paste, like, "We're fresh out of F's to give at this point, and we're gonna let you know because it's not my problem. I'm just a community manager. I'm just the intern who copy and paste stuff to Twitter."
Right.
It's not I get that it's not their fault and they don't have anything to tell you, but to own up to just copy and pasting and rearranging words is probably not the best way to handle an upset customer at that point.
So true. And there was like another, but I do recall seeing that with the rearranging. I was like, this can't be true. This can't be, am I reading this right? And I read it again, and I read it again, and I read it again. I was like, they literally said that, or somebody said that. What? And there was this other instance, and a disclaimer, I don't know what happened beforehand with the user on Twitter, but it was a tweet, and it was underneath, I think, one of the screenshots of the month, the screenshots of the week, where you can, like, you post the screenshots, and then they do like a collage of 9 creators or 10 creators, and then just post it. And somebody replied, and as I've read it, nothing threatening, nothing hate speech, no hate, just a bit, not aggressive, but you could feel like, okay, frustration. There's frustration in there as well. But they asked regular, like, you know, I don't think that the game is ready yet or was ready yet. What do you have to say about that? Like legit type of questions. And then like an hour later, I was on Twitter again, and I saw like, and that person replied to their own tweet, and it was like, and it's like, oh, I'm blocked now, and they show the screenshots of like being blocked, and I was like, okay, and I was like, again, I don't know the history, I don't know the
Yeah.
backgrounds with the user, like there could have been other, stuff that happened, I don't know. It was just in that context, it was just so weird to see that from a no hate, no toxicity, just a regular question and just like a statement like this is the way it is. When are you going to, or why are you not, or and then to just being blocked by the official City Skylines account was
Sounds like an
like
overreaction.
sounds like it again. And I don't know what happened prior to that conversation with that user. You never know these things, but yeah, it felt to me like that's very unlucky, after just like a regular question or a regular statement from a user to just like block them.
They
It
need a millennial meme lord managing their Twitter and replies. Like they need somebody like a Wendy's or a Steakums that can just like go toe to toe. Because if you're gonna be a jerk, at least do it in a humorous way. I don't know. My I thought it was funny. So I like the city's contact was telling us all like how much better our city or how much our videos are doing better because it's cities 2 content, right? Like looking at all of our average views and saying how much they were up. Um, and sure, yeah, cities 2 did get a little bit of a bump in my regular views because everybody wanted on and to see what it was all about. But now months later after release, my top 3 videos are all dunking on CS2. It's cities wasn't ready, how not to release a game, potato mode, and my 50-minute rant. Like that's what is successful for my channel right now is dunking on this game because there's lots of people that are very much in agreement. And I think it's kind of funny. Like I've heard other creators where some comment sections have turned on them and they're having to block a lot more people than normal. And I feel like the Rat King and people that like all the people are like, yes, you have my complaints too. And they're like swarming the comments. Like you just need somebody to speak up because it like no, it's not okay to charge for this. And it's okay to voice your disappointment, right? It's like
oh, for
this is not
sure.
what I was expecting. I'm hoping for this. Can we get any official response? Sure, here's a copy and paste, but we reworded it. Uh, but they like I said, they need somebody that can handle that better. Like just blocking a not aggressive thing is not really a good way to go. Potato mode, right? My video potato mode. I did like the lowest specs I could put together at release and showed the game what it was on a 1660 and a 7700K. It was not pretty. And most of the comments were like, "Oh, thank God I found out about this before release." And thanks for being honest. Like everybody else is
Right.
putting a fresh coat of paint on it. And one guy, like, it wasn't aggressive, but it was like, I'll decide if I'll buy this game, not you. And I did what I think any reasonable creator should do. I hearted and pinned that comment. And then there was somebody that replied just a few minutes later, like, "Is this a pin of shame?" And they
I,
got
I
more likes than the original comment did. So people are not only finding that comment, but then going into the replies to find that guy's comment and liking the fact that this is a pin of shame. So it's like you don't have to ban those people from your channel. Put it right at the top of the comment section and let the community handle it for you. Like
I
that's a
I
valid way to do things too.
I've seen that on your video. I've seen that. Is this the pin of shame? I've seen
Yeah.
that actually. Now that you say it, I remember it. Yeah.
Nice.
Like that's what you can do, right? Pin that stuff and let's yeah, let the community take over basically.
One little click
Interesting
and that
comment
heart
though.
is
Yeah.
so passive aggressive.
Interesting though. Really, really interesting. What a comment. Like, I mean, okay. But
I mean, yeah, that is exactly like, I totally agree with that, and I mean, in part, like, again, it's not something to ban or block, like, absolutely, you are entitled to that opinion,
Sure.
and bumping that to the top, everybody pointed out how silly that opinion was because it's either silly for pointing it out, or it's silly for coming to that video and thinking like, "Here's me laying out why it's bad, why I've had a bad experience on my hardware, on this hardware." Everything from a 1660 to a 3080 did not run well at release. Um, but by all means, you were coming to YouTube apparently to see what people thought about the game, and you clicked on my video. That's the other thing. Like I can't tell you how many times, like the most that I will do on exit of a video is hit the dislike button because maybe it will tell YouTube he doesn't like this. Try something different next time. Or maybe like, it's unfortunate sometimes for the creator to get that feedback, but I'm not leaving aggressive comments like, "You don't know what you're talking about." No, you're totally entitled to your opinion and to present it
Sure.
in your way, like, do your thing. So I don't get people that basically hate watch content. It's a weird niche, but there's a lot of them out there.
Fair point. There are actually, yeah. It's really interesting when you look at it. Again, I saw that comment and it was just like, okay, also instantly formed my opinion on that comment. Not the video, but the comment, and I was like, okay. I mean, and I think you handled that the absolute correct way, which is really really interesting. A question for you: would it have been better to simply refine City Skylines 1 and update that game instead of, better than remastered obviously, but instead of just like starting from scratch? What do you think?
I mean, I wish I could say more, but, like, I saw a version of remastered that people did not see, and, like, there was room to do things, and I think they could have remastered Cities 1. I think they could have started there and updated, but they went to a new Unity engine, which I get because it's probably better multi-threaded performance than Unity from 2015. But, like, still, like, to have to completely break it down and build your game from the ground up, and then to not like, you should have made it a shameless copy in a new engine first, and then started worrying about the new stuff. And they just left out so many things that even vanilla cities like key walls. Like, how did we miss that one? How did that, like 2017 playing on Xbox had key walls.
Right.
2024, we don't have that in the game yet? That's, like, just outrageous to me. Like, these little things that they're leaving out, and they said, as much in one of their posts, like, "We didn't get to put all the things in, including many quality of life improvements that you've come to love in the predecessor." Like, things that were in the game aren't in the game. Things that were community staples of the modding scene are not in the game. Like, how is Move It not in there?
Exactly.
Like, just please hire Cuboid, make your game better. Like, build it into the game. That needs to be into the game. I don't know. If you're gonna mod, Move It's gotta be one of the first ones. Traffic Manager, because they can't do traffic AI. Like, you look at the top 10 most popular, build 5 of them into the game. And they
Yeah.
grabbed, like, little brush strokes from here and there and said, like, "Oh, yeah, that's Traffic Manager. We don't need it because we did AI and pathing, and we don't need uh, Move It or Anarchy because we built that little bit of Anarchy into the road tool." And it shows good, but the more you dive into it, you realize how hollow those things are. And it isn't something that you can stand up on for 10 years, which is their intent, and shipping this 10-year platform not ready, without PDX mods. The fact that they showed those region packs before those creators could even import them into the game. Hey, get excited about region packs. And one of the things I drew attention to was like, go back and watch that trailer. Zero footage in game. Like, you'll see in life, you'll see drone footage, you'll see over their shoulder as they're building those assets, but it's not in game. And they admitted as much in a word of the week that we're not even at the point where asset creators can put their assets into the game. Then why are you hyping people up about free region packs? Those aren't ready. Those aren't anywhere close to ready because you haven't even seen one of those buildings in the game yet. maybe you might want to hold off on the trailer a little bit. I don't know. What do I know?
So interesting because after I saw I it was again in I watched a bunch of your videos, and it was in one of your videos, I believe, when you said that specific thing, like watch the trailer for the region pack again because there's no in-game footage. And I'm like, wait, what? And I believe you, when you, while you said it, you showed some of that trailer footage in that video. I was like, hot dog, that's absolutely true. There's no footage of like in game. You see, as you said, you see the like over, you see the screen. They're creating some stuff, and it's like, wow, they didn't even like. It's not even in game. And then yeah, it's like, oh, we're not even ready. And it just like another thing you said, you were like hire Cuboid. Didn't some modders get hired even? Or was that like, did I,
Um,
was that an urban legend? Did I hear that somehow?
I,
Is that like
I
a,
don't know what I can confirm and can't.
oh,
I
okay.
just for their sake, but yeah, people have been hired, but by Paradox, as far as I know, not by Colossal,
Oh,
which
right.
is confusing to me. Unless they're, that would be more of a consultant role for how to build out PDX mods or things like that might make sense.
Right, right.
But I don't know for sure. And I don't know
Okay.
who's public about that.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I
no,
won't name any specific names.
I just heard that, but yeah. So, but yeah, anyway, about like the assets not being ready in game, the mods not being ready in game, I just feel like October 24, I think personally it would have been better to be like October 25 for the release, because it just like when you hear all of these things, and then like even now we get PDX mods in like, as the time of this recording, in like 4 weeks. I think they said like end of March, and it's gonna be early access still. And I'm not like, I want it to work, right? I'm probably gonna go in, I'm gonna test it. I probably am gonna do a video about my initial reactions. How is it working? What are we doing? What can we do? But I'm also scared that it will just be a complete dumpster fire. Like I don't know, but they're saying like early access, and then didn't they say that it will be fully ready in like September? Or I can't remember. I should have prepared better for the talk. I Something like months ahead.
It sounds right, which would lead me to believe that console isn't coming anytime soon because they want to have that like feature complete, which I don't think it's feature complete until they can include that stuff too. Which so it makes sense that that's going to have to wait until modding is fully fleshed out. But if we're talking March for the beta, early access, whatever we want to call it,
Right.
I would imagine, and it's probably well warranted, that console's not coming for quite a while. Uh, I I would love to have seen what shape the game was in on console, because if they were willing to ship all these things and make all these concessions with performance on PC, man, that must have been in rough shape for them to pull the plug on it.
Yeah. At this point, I don't really like, it's honestly, yeah, I've come to a point where like I don't really know. Like I was always, and that's like I got a lot of like I got a couple of comments as well on the last podcast show, what I did with the Skyline 6 actually, and we talked a bit about, the state of the game. City Skylines 2 are like free, like, and of course I got lots of comments stating like, oh, why didn't you say this earlier? Like, why didn't you, sooner? And I again, I want to love the game. I tried to like be positive about the game. I didn't tell anybody to buy it. Like, I don't think I've ever done that, and even with Cities 1. But it's like I tried so hard to be like positive, because I was like, this it's gonna work. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be amazing. I mean, this is Cities 2 we're talking about. This has to be amazing. Like I've never thought about a Cities 2. Like when I heard that, I think I legit fell out of my chair, because like I was like, wait, seriously? They're doing a sequel? Like, oh my god. this game has to be amazing because they've learned so much from the first one. They've got so much information, they've got so much input, they got so much community feedback from the first game. This is going to be so amazing. And I guess like deep down I always wanted it to be like this amazing game, and I tried for as long as I could to like be neutralish positive, like sort of to say. And just like recently I'm like, I can't hold back anymore. Because it's not like it's just it didn't get better. I thought like, okay, over time, give it time. And I mean, to be fair, like the first like 40 hours in game were like, I was miserable. I was miserable with the game. After like 50, 60 hours, I slowly started to, okay, the road tools are pretty amazing, right? You can do some really cool stuff with the road tools. And it started to click for me after like 50, 60 hours. And I did some road designs, I did some road layouts, so much fun. And then I came to the point that I mentioned earlier. It's like there's only so many road layouts you can do before you're like, okay, and now what? And so after like 80, 90, I think I got like 100 hours in game now. I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm done for now. I don't like what to do in game anymore. Like the even like the modularity of the service buildings, where I was like, yo, that's really cool. This it's like it can also get a bit annoying if you, I mean, I guess that's on the player side, but I tend to like forget to leave space for the modules that come with the service buildings, and then it's like, oh shoot, and I got to redo the entire area just because there's like an add-on building that blocks like a big chunk of this road layout or whatever it is. And it's just these things, again, these little things that add up to one big thing that just like annoy me at this point and make the game not fun anymore. So, but yeah, that's why I sort of did not speak out sooner, if I want to call it that. Um, yeah, it was just because I had my hopes up and I tried to, I was like, it's gonna be better. I just have to play the game. It's gonna get better, but it didn't.
It
It
doesn't.
got good, and then again 50, 60 hours. I was like, yay, and then it's just like no.
That's about where I topped out too. I think was right around the 50-hour mark, where it just felt like I had done what this game has. And it's interesting to see, like, Phil, City Planner
Yeah,
Plays, getting into these huge cities and then realizing finally, like, oh, hey, there's a problem here with zoning and land value, and this is just a problem that will continue to eat itself until your city fails.
right.
Like, how does that get past testing? Like, how little are they playing the game? Like, they already have, I think, demonstrated that they don't play the game in the way that YouTubers play the game, which I'm not saying is the only way to play the game, but there's obviously a following behind that. There's creators with, 500,000 plus followers that did nothing but cities for a year. There's obviously a market in what they do and how they do it. That game was not catered to them, and in fact, City Planner, Biffa, like $2, like who hasn't come out with a, yeah, this isn't as good as I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I get where some of those criticisms come from. Like, they are heavily invested in the success of a franchise to some extent. It is their job.
Yes.
They're not
Yes.
they're not gonna dunk on it day one and immediately alienate a lot of their audience. I don't I th I'm so lucky because I don't do YouTube for a living, and I have always stood on honesty, and, like, I call out, like, if this is something that people shouldn't get. Financial districts is a great example. I got my hands on that early for both PC and for, uh, Xbox, and it was fine. It was serviceable on PC. Like, if this is interesting to you, go for it, get it.
Right.
If you're on console, like, this is an absolute waste of your money and time. Let me show you why. Like, because you couldn't go into the stock menu without pausing time. So, like, on PC, you can watch a stock go up and down and wait for it,
You
but if
can't
you go
do
to
that
look at
on
the stock
console?
price, you can now. You couldn't at release,
Oh, okay. I
which
didn't
is
know
just
that.
like, okay, so I will let the game play for, like, 10 minutes and come back and check and see if I caught it at a good time, because every time you pause it, it pauses time and it stops moving the simulation. Like, I can't look at the price
Yeah.
as it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, you can now, but that was just
Okay.
like, this was And I remember saying it in my video at the time, like, "Does it work? Yes. Is it fun to play? Absolutely not." Like, so somebody was sitting there with a checklist, like, "Did we port this feature over? Yes." But did you actually play it and try and make a game out of it? No way, otherwise you wouldn't have shoved it out the door like that. You would have found a different way to
Right.
fix that problem, but they didn't, so that's when it, I think, for really started to hit home for me that console. I mean, I should have known earlier, but it was very clear that, like, console is just second-class citizens. They're selling them a product, and it's the same amount of money, it's the same DLCs, it's the same radio stations, and it's a lot less value for your money in the end product as a result. Um, I mentioned one of my, I think, core complaints earlier. They chose not to support code mods for Cities 2 on consoles. And everyone in the comments, my God, there's so many armchair experts in the comments. It's
Armchair
like, oh well,
experts.
they don't do that because it's illegal. You can't mod consoles. Actually, you can mod Xbox just fine. PlayStation makes it an absolute pain in the butt. But, like, look at vanilla Fallout 4 versus modded Fallout 4 on a console. Like, night and day difference, completely different UI, different quests. You can import radio stations and environments, like, all sorts of stuff you can do. It is very possible to mod the game on Xbox. I understand that PlayStation is a huge portion, especially of single player games. Like, they've got to account for a lot. Um, but it is really unfortunate for Xbox to be left off that list when they could, in theory, support, maybe not to the same extent, maybe not to the same quality, but they could support that. And I think another one, like, armchair experts wise, like, so I said something about console release, and somebody replied, like, "Yeah, good luck on that coming to console. The game requires 8 cores." Okay, Xbox has 8 cores and PlayStation has 8 cores. So if your argument is needs 8 cores,
It's
check and check. Like,
right,
okay.
right.
I mean, like, it's still not gonna run good, don't get me wrong. I'm not using that as a case for,
Yeah,
"Oh, yeah, no, it's gonna be fine. It has 8
yeah.
cores, it's gonna run great." No, it's gonna run like trash. But that's not the reason why. It's not the
Right,
cores. It's not
right.
it's the horrible optimization that they did, and leaning into a sim way, way, way too hard,
Yeah,
and at the expense of fun gameplay and performance.
I agree. I agree. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I didn't know about all of these like issues with the console versions. Honestly, I didn't know about financial districts not being able to, or like looking at the stock market while the time was still flowing, like at the
Yeah,
beginning, of course, because like I mean, and yeah, that's like if we want to talk that, I mean, I thought it was an okay add-on.
yeah,
Yeah, lots of buildings, some parks, but the feature of the stock market was like I think I used it like 3 times, and that's just
yeah,
like okay, let's see. Oh, this is down. Let's buy this. Just basically to level up. When I didn't play with unlock everything, let's just use it to level up the building so we can change the appearance, make it look nicer, or make it fit in a certain area better or whatever. And that was just to make that money that is needed to level up with the stock market. So it's like a feature that I guess I could go without. Yeah, but that's
and
it's
that's why I did not recommend it for console players, especially, and like, DLC is console mods. Like, it's the only way you're gonna change the game around.
right.
So for it to be such an afterthought and so obviously not any attention to detail in the QA process, to not see that as a problem. I remember just throwing my hands up like, my God, they are just so checked out on this. They do not care about console at this point. And I said that much in my review. It's my thumbnail is a PC thumbs up, console thumbs down with the financial districts logo in the middle. And I don't think there's a better way to describe it. It's
Yeah,
just it's fine and serviceable for what it is on PC, and it was an insult on console. It's at least a little bit better now.
at least that. I do love the way you present these things, like your honesty. That's so amazing. That's really really cool. Honestly, move the mouse. We've been recording for over an hour and a half now, and I love the talk. 100%. I do have one more question that we could discuss a little bit, and that is, what do you hope for the future of City Skylines 2? Like, what do we think is going to happen over time?
I mean, I am. less and less hopeful the more I hear them talk about the game, to hear them and there were some pretty regular people in the community that I mentioned it to recently and did not know that, yeah, they're done major patches and they're moving on to DLC, and fixes and patches will come probably alongside that. That was
Right.
news to them. They're like, "Wait, what? They're done, like, they're moving to DLC?" And I know some people might want that DLC that they already paid for, but, like, I want a better game, and that doesn't happen if they're moving on to selling us stuff. So, I mean, honestly, I think one of the things that needs to happen, maybe it is C-level, maybe it is Paradox, maybe it is executive, maybe it is game direction, like, it's really unfortunate, like, when we see all these layoffs happening in the video game industry, like, "Oh, the game didn't make the money that we wanted it to, so cut 50% of the devs." But, like, who is responsible for that ultimately? Like, who drove that project into the ground? Who steered it and said, "This is ready, let's ship it out the door"? Not the woman that did the sound design, like, she's obviously very passionate from the
Oh yeah.
diary, the dev diary, like, you love what you do. You didn't wanna push out something bad. Um, and I'm sure there were plenty of people there that would have hit the brakes if they could, but it was, it is a corporate machine, the wheels are set in motion, so I would love to see it roll back from that perspective a bit, but I know that is not going to happen. But I think the best thing that could happen to this game is change at the executive level or at the very minimum game direction. I want one of the game directors, the game director is the one on the stream this last Thursday. Like, they don't really know how to play the game. Watching them play the game, they don't know the game that well, and they're building these really ugly things and 60-foot high, train towers. It's like that's part of the problem. Like, you need
Mm.
someone passionate about the product to direct it. And I think it's something that's maybe more specific in technical capacities more than anything else. Like, you can have a manager who doesn't know how to do things, right? Like they say, like, if you can't do, teach, right? So,
Yeah.
I forget the expression. If you can't do, teach.
I heard. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but basically, like, we have people that are directing games that don't have the passion for the game, that don't know how their own game works. That is so central to the problem. Like, how can you manage the technical expectations of a project and what is fun to play and what you're selling people if you don't know how it works?
Right.
And that was very evident in the last stream. I mean, also evident that they don't apparently know how OBS and stuff like that works. That I can forgive because they're not regular streamers. But,
Fair.
to not know how your city game works when you're the one directing the project, like, it Phil Spencer was just caught online playing Fallout 76. Like, decisions good or bad, whatever you think of Phil Spencer, like, he is a gamer. He's playing his games. He knows the experience of these games. Like, he gets into them, he completes
Yeah.
them, he runs through them, and he finds ones that he like, even with questionable tastes. Fallout 76, not my jam. Love Fallout, not 76. But, like, to see, a C-level playing Xbox Game Pass games online and trading gear with random players, like, that is somebody that understands the product, that knows deep down what needs to be fixed. Now, whether or not they make the right decision is still gonna come down to commoditization, unfortunately, especially a company as big as Microsoft. They're like 218 billion in business revenue last year. Like, Xbox is just part of their divested investment. Like, it's just
Right.
another drop in the bucket of the money that they make, but they still treat it very much like a business. And unfortunately, as the more we see business creep into this, the more it becomes a product just to sell you stuff. And I think it was already kind of on the edge, Cities One, with all the DLCs, $400 worth of DLCs that you could buy for the first one. And
Right.
if they want us to buy the second one again, they need to show us that they care more about the core. And I don't feel that they've shown us that yet.
That sounds good. I don't think I have anything to add to that.
I've got a quick challenge for you.
Please.
I thought this could be kind of fun. So, I mentioned this recently. In fact, it was about the toxicity that I
Okay.
commented in my 50-minute rant, and I said something to the effect of, I get flamed for stuff all the time, and you do stuff like I mentioned. You pin that comment, let the community deal with it. You don't have to block them outright. But I remember I did a modded casino strip video for the city's channel, and I hadn't done any modded YouTube content. This is a new excursion for me. So I built a casino strip on a Miami Beach map, and put a lot of time into it, custom assets, all kinds of mods, and kind of utilize the format of Miami Beach road layout, and made the main strip a casino strip. And I mentioned, regretfully, having said it this way, because I got so many DMs, I said that it was loosely based on Las Vegas, Nevada. Don't say Nevada, because Nevada is what they want to hear, and they will jump down your throat. And my my ask was like, I would love to see that same person try and say Massachusetts town names, because they are some of the toughest things. And I specifically said a town name, and somebody from Mass in the comments said, "Huh, you didn't even say that one right. It's this." And I was like, no, you're thinking of a completely different town. Look on a map, go an hour up 95. That's where that town is. And they're like, oh my God, I've never even heard of this place before. So I wanted to present to you, and I thought maybe you could put them up on screen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
send you the name of a town. They're
Okay.
increasing in difficulty.
All right.
I'm gonna DM you the name of a town,
Oh my
and
God.
you just tell me how it would be pronounced. And keep in mind, these are all Massachusetts town names, if that tells you anything.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So there's number one.
All right. First
They
of
start
all,
easy.
all right. It's on screen now on the YouTube video, but I would say it is a Chicopee.
You would be correct. That's the easy one. Like I said, we're starting small.
Starting it easy. All right. All right.
Okay, here's the next one.
I'm kind
And
of
this was
scared.
just a no, they do get tough.
Okay. I would say this is Carlisle.
So you actually said that better than anyone outside of New England would have said that.
Oh, neato.
So yeah, very, very, very close. So the big separation, like some people would say Carl Isle, but
Carlisle.
it's Car Lyle, like somebody's name
Carlisle.
Lyle.
All right. All right.
Carlisle.
I don't know
Okay.
why, but this one, it seems familiar to me. Like, I don't know. And for
Yeah,
anyone
they're
watching
not.
or
Yeah.
listening, we did not practice this. This is unprompted. I don't know what's going to happen next. So, but yeah, Carlisle. It seems like I've seen this before somewhere. I can't place it, but yeah. All right.
Oh, so there's two places that New England towns get their names from, and it's either England or Native American culture, and sometimes it's a cross between the two,
Okay. Okay.
which is where things get on the second half of this list.
All right. How
So
long is the
here's
list?
it's 10, and we can cut it to whatever. Again, they're increasing difficulty.
Okay. I would say this is called. I know the last part would be Bury, but Tewksbury. Tewksbury.
Perfect. You are doing excellent.
Oh my
You're knocking
god.
these out of the park.
Oh my god. I'm excited.
This one. Okay, this is where things may take a turn.
Oh lord. Oh, that's easy, I think. It's Haverhill.
You would think that,
I would think that.
and you would be wrong, and we would know you're not from New England.
Is it Haverhill?
Nope.
Oh my god. Okay, that's two misses. That's
The E in the middle is almost not there. Haverhill.
Haverhill? Oh my god. Haverhill.
Haverhill, like a person that their name rhymes with drill. Haverhill.
Haverhill.
You don't say the E in the middle. It's not there.
Okay. Haverhill. Nice. That's good to know.
This one's a little bit ubiquitous. People outside of New England have heard this one, and there's a sauce that has this kind of in the name as well.
Well, then I would say it's Worcester.
So it's Worcester.
Worcester. Okay, Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcester. The sauce. Yes, I think
Yep.
I've heard people say it Worcester sauce. Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce.
Exactly. Yep.
When I tried to I was like, because it's an infamous sauce and people like the name, and I was there's this one scene from one of my all-time favorite TV shows, King of Queens, where this married couple and Doug and Carrie, they're like, okay, we're not morons. Let's just try to pronounce it together, because they were going back and forth on how it's called, and they were just like, they had the bottle and they were just like, Worcestershire, and it's just like hilarious scene. And I was like, I did like the almost exact same thing with my wife, and we're like, okay, let's see how do you pronounce this? And I was like, Worcestershire sauce, Worcester. That's how I would say, because I just read the letters, and it's like that's how it looks to me, and so that's why I would say Worcester. But Worcester, I also heard somebody, I think it was like a TV chef, you know, the people that make money on TV but are actually just they're actually chefs, and they pronounce it Worcestershire sauce. So I heard that before. So yeah.
That one's not that's one of the few that doesn't make sense, but
Yeah.
it gets outside of the New England area.
Okay, I would, if I were to answer now, would say Gloucester. But since we just had the Worcester, is it Gloucester? I'm sorry if I
You're closer, but it's Gloucester.
Gloucester.
Yep.
Gloucester. Okay, okay.
But yeah, they set
Gloucester.
these I set these up in a way where they build off the last one. So if you made
Okay.
sense of what we do, you're already figuring out the
This is
formula.
this is really interesting. This is really interesting. Oh, that's straightforward. I would say this as straightforward. Leominster,
It seems straightforward, right?
but it's probably not.
Leominster.
Lemonster. Oh
Yeah.
my god! But the O is switched with the M for lemon. No, wait,
Doesn't
no.
matter.
Lemon.
Leominster. Doesn't matter.
Lemonster. Lemonster. Okay, okay, that's
We don't
nice.
care about words and how they are formed elsewhere. This is how they work in New England.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
I just got a couple. I got a couple more left. I thank you for humoring me on
Yeah,
this.
please. This
This is
is
a fun
fun.
one.
This is fun to do. Leicester.
Yeah, a little lazier.
It's not Leicester, probably. In
No,
the
no,
same
you were close. You were
vein.
close to the first one.
Leicester.
Leicester. Leicester.
Leicester.
Yep.
Leicester.
Leicester. Leicester.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, this is a fun one, and I know how most people want to say this one,
Yeah. So it's
but
probably not. It's probably not.
it's not the way you want to say
Yeah.
it,
Okay. So it's not Billerica.
right? It's
Is
close.
it just pronunciation? So Billerica, maybe.
No, so remember what we did with Haverhill? We ignore the E in the
Haverhill.
middle of a word.
Oh, Billerica.
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 Billerica. Yep, that's it,
Billerica. Oh
Billerica.
wow. Okay. Makes
That's a
sense
weird one.
now.
Okay,
Sort
2
of.
left, and these build on one another, and this is actually
Okay.
this is the one that the guy in my comments got confused because I said the name of a town. He's like, "No, you meant this." I was like, "No, it's a different city."
Okay.
So if you can get this one, or when you hear it, you should be able to get the next one, but we'll see.
All right. All right. Oh my god. It it's not okay. This is not an excuse. But for anyone out there that doesn't know, I'm German, so there's like an extra add of difficulty to this. But I would say for this, uh, situate,
Situate, a little bit looser. That's all. You were very
situate,
close on that.
situate. So it's not situate,
Situate.
situate,
Right.
situate.
So
So
now
that's the one that
take
you
everything that
said.
you've learned.
Oh my god.
You got it. You got this.
All right, all right.
You've learned.
Wait.
You've already grown so much as a New Englander.
The one before is situate, situate. So this one is constituent, constituent.
Bang on the money first try. Constituent. So I
Constituent.
said in my video,
Oh my
I would love to see some of you pronounce mass names. Constituent. How do you think that's spelled?
Constituent.
And the guy said, "You're saying Situate wrong." Like, no, you don't know of the town name Constituent next to Framingham. Sorry
Oh my
about that,
god.
buddy.
Oh my god.
So I thank you for letting me turn the tables on you here. And you did actually. So
Oh,
for someone outside of the country, especially, it might help because a lot of this does spawn from Old English and European,
right.
and if not, it's Native American. So it's not the way that your traditional English speaker in the United States, like, they get very frustrated trying to say town names in Massachusetts if you come from outside of the area.
Okay.
So I said Nevada, and I would love to see that guy that flamed me in the comments say some of these town names because I bet he wouldn't do nearly as well as you just did.
Thank you. This was so much fun. I'm maybe somebody in the YouTube world watching this tried and spoke that along. It would be interesting to know how many you out there got right. Drop us comments in the comment section below. No, it's very interesting because I think I saw your discussion about the Nevada.
Yeah.
Was that on your video or where did I?
I
Because
did
did
comment
you?
on the video, but I also pointed it out, on a Discord or on a community post somewhere, that comment in
So
particular.
maybe I read it there somewhere
Yeah.
because the story sounds very familiar to me. So I do know that I've heard about that before. Thank you so much for the town names. That was really really cool. Move the mouse. Thank you so much. It was amazing having you here. Thank you for being on the show.
Pleasure to be here.
So you have a YouTube channel. Your youtube.com/@ that's move the mouse. Correct.
Yeah, youtube.com/move the mouse. It's, I do stuff when I do stuff, and I'll probably be getting back to Cities 1. I just started streaming some Pacific Drive, so if you want variety content, that's what to come there for right now. When we do eventually get a release date for Cities on console, I'm gonna be all over that, and I'm gonna tell you good or bad. So if you're waiting for the console release and you want an honest opinion, I will give it to you. If it is worth holding up and buying and spending your own money on, I will tell you that. And if it is not, I will also tell you that. So come
Nice.
by, check out the channel, and listen to me ramble in a very similar way, but with less guidance. So it's just kind of nonsensical the whole time.
Can recommend. Definitely go check out Move the Mouse. Also linked in the description of the YouTube video. Again, thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for watching, for listening in. Really, really appreciate it. Please stay safe out there. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day and see you soon. Bye bye.